Adaku had her life turned upside down at the age of 25. It all started in the city of Lagos, where she worked as a receptionist at a prestigious law firm. Adaku wasn't just any receptionist. She was sharp, witty, and had a way of making everyone feel welcome, from the junior associates to the big boss himself, Chief A.O. Martins, a distinguished lawyer with a mane of silver hair and a reputation as sharp as his suits. One scorching afternoon, while Adaku was busy greeting a client, a commotion erupted at the entrance. A tall, handsome man with a kind smile and an aura of quiet confidence entered into the firm. He was dressed in a crisp, white linen suit that seemed to glow under the harsh fluorescent lights. This was Emeka Okafor, a titan of Nigerian industry, the owner of one of the country's most successful manufacturing companies. Emeka had come to the firm seeking legal counsel for a new business venture. As fate would have had it, Adaku was assigned to be his receptionist for the duration of his visit. Their eyes met across the polished mahogany desk, and a spark ignited. Emeka, used to boardrooms filled with stern faces, was captivated by Adaku's warmth and genuine smile. Adaku, in turn, found herself drawn to his gentle demeanor and the way his eyes crinkled at the corners when he laughed. Their first conversations were short and professional, stolen moments between meetings and calls. But as Emeka visited more often, their exchanged glances and shy smiles increased. They found they both loved Fela Kuti's music, spicy jollof rice, and beach walks on rainy afternoons. Emeka, a self-made billionaire, was pleasantly surprised by how much he enjoyed Adaku's company, as she wasn't interested in his wealth. Adaku, who dreamed of a movie-like love story, found herself falling for the kind and successful Emeka. One beautiful evening, as the orange sun set over the Lagos skyline, Emeka confessed his feelings. They were sitting on a quiet part of Bar Beach, the waves' rhythmic crash soothing Adaku's pounding heart. Emeka, not one for grand gestures, took her hand and said, Adaku, you make my heart sing a song I never knew existed." Tears of joy and disbelief filled Adaku's eyes. Emeka, she whispered, I feel the same way." Under the moonlight, they sealed their newfound love with a kiss as sweet and warm as the Lagos night air. Their relationship grew like the vibrant hibiscus flowers on Adaku's balcony. They spent weekends exploring hidden waterfalls, attending lively concerts, and sharing whispered secrets under starlit skies. Emeka showed his affection with small gifts, a hand-woven scarf from a local market, a bouquet of lilies that filled their apartment with sweet perfume, a poem in his elegant handwriting. Adaku surprised him with home-cooked meals, tickets to a local play, and a framed photo of them on their first beach date. However, their happy bubble wasn't meant to last forever. One rainy Tuesday evening, Adaku came home from work to find Emeka looking pale and worried. He admitted he had been getting threatening calls from a competitor who felt threatened by Emeka's recent success. Fear crept into Adaku's heart, and she hated the idea of someone trying to hurt the man she loved. That night, after a restless sleep filled with nightmares, Adaku had a serious talk with Emeka. With tears streaming down her face, she said, Emeka, I can't bear the thought of you being in danger. Maybe it's best if we don't see each other anymore." Emeka's heart sank. He understood her fear, but the thought of losing her was unbearable. He tried to comfort her, promising to increase security, but Adaku was firm. With heavy hearts, they decided to take a break, a painful pause in their beautiful love story. Days turned into weeks, and the silence in Adaku's apartment felt deafening. The once vibrant colors of their love story seemed to have faded to a dull gray. One day, while walking home from work, lost in her thoughts, Adaku bumped into a tall figure. Looking up, she was surprised to see Kolade Adamalui, a lawyer from Chief A.O. Martin's firm. Kolade's smile, usually warm and friendly, seemed strained today. Adaku, I'm so sorry to hear about you and Emeka, he said, his voice laced with concern. Adaku, surprised by his knowledge of their breakup, hesitated before sighing. It's complicated, Kolade. Seizing the opportunity, Kolade suggested they grab a coffee to chat. Hesitantly, Adaku agreed. As they sat at a small cafe, Adaku poured out her heart to Kolade. She spoke of her love for Emeka, the fear that had driven them apart, and the numbing loneliness that now consumed her. Kolade listened intently, his gaze unwavering. When she finished, he spoke softly, his words surprisingly insightful. Adaku, he said, your love shouldn't be filled with fear. It should be a source of strength, of courage. Perhaps taking a break was the right decision, but don't let fear dictate your future. His words resonated with Adaku. Maybe Kolade was right. Maybe fear had clouded her judgment. Over the next few weeks, Kolade became a regular part of Adaku's life. He walked her home from work, entertained her with stories from his cases, and made her laugh with his witty jokes. Unlike Emeka, Kolade had a quiet intensity and sharp intellect that Adaku found increasingly attractive. One evening, as they walked along the beach with the comforting sound of waves, Kolade took her hand and surprised her. Adaku, he said in a husky voice, since you and Emeka are no longer together, I wanted to take a chance. You are an amazing woman, kind, intelligent, and beautiful. I would be honored if you gave me a chance to show you how much I care. Adaku's heart fluttered. Here was a man who admired her for more than her beauty, appreciating her mind and spirit. Yet, she had doubts. Could she love again, so soon after Emeka? Meanwhile, across town, Emeka was a shadow of his former self. His company was doing well, but his success felt meaningless without Adaku. He tried to focus on work, but her laughter echoed in the empty space beside him. One day, while reviewing a new contract, he noticed a familiar name, Kolade Adamalui. A cold dread filled him as he realized Kolade was the lawyer representing his competitor. Suddenly, the threatening calls made sense. It wasn't just a competitor, it was Kolade. Fury surged through Emeka. How could the man he considered a colleague stoop so low? But then, a chilling realization hit him. Could Kolade's sudden interest in Adaku be a ploy to get closer to him and his business? The thought was like a punch to the gut. Was Adaku a pawn in a larger game? Driven by a mix of anger and suspicion, Emeka decided to confront Adaku. He stormed into the law firm, his face full of rage. Adaku, surprised to see him, looked up from her desk. Before she could speak, Emeka accused her of working with Kolade and using him for her own gain. Adaku's jaw dropped. The man she loved, the one she had almost sacrificed her happiness for, thought she was capable of such betrayal? Tears filled her eyes. Emeka, how can you even think that? As she cried, her voice shaking. My love for you was real. It still is. Emeka faltered, his anger briefly overshadowed by the pain in her voice. But the seed of doubt had been planted. He stormed out of the firm, leaving Adaku in tears, her heart breaking into a million pieces. Meanwhile, Kolade, oblivious to the drama unfolding, was waiting for Adaku outside the firm. Seeing her tear-stained face, his heart ached. What happened? He asked gently, his concern evident. Adaku, her voice choked with emotion, poured out her heart, telling him about Emeka's accusations. Kolade listened patiently, his brow furrowed in thought. Adaku, he said finally, his voice firm, Emeka has no right to accuse you like that. Your love is pure, and I believe you. But perhaps it's time for you to make a choice. Emeka clearly doesn't trust you. Can you build a future with someone who doubts your love? Adaku stared at him, the weight of his words settling on her like a heavy cloak. She looked back at the empty doorway, the memory of Emeka's accusing glare fresh in her mind. Adaku looked at Kolade, his hand outstretched in a gesture of comfort. Her heart ached for Emeka, the love they shared still a flicker in the ashes of their recent fight. Yet, his accusations stung, a bitter pill to swallow. Here, Kolade stood, offering her a hand, a chance at something new, something built on trust and understanding. Taking a deep breath, Adaku surprised herself by placing her hand in Kolade's. It felt different, a warmth that wasn't the same as Emeka's, but a warmth nonetheless. I need some time to think, as she admitted, her voice barely a whisper. Kolade squeezed her hand gently, his eyes filled with understanding. Of course, he said. But know this, Adaku, the door is always open if you decide to walk through it. One evening, while sorting through files, Adaku stumbled upon a familiar photograph tucked away in a drawer. It was a picture of her and Emeka, taken on their first beach date. They were both smiling brightly, their eyes sparkling with love. A wave of nostalgia washed over her, the memory of their stolen kisses and whispered secrets sending a pang of longing through her heart. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. It was a text from Emeka, short and cryptic. "Je meet me at Bar Beach, tonight. 8 p.m. Come alone." Her breath hitched. What did he want? Was this a chance to clear the air, to rekindle their lost love? Or was it a final goodbye? As the clock struck 8, Adaku stood on the familiar sands of Bar Beach, the waves crashing rhythmically, mirroring the turmoil in her heart. She looked around for Emeka, but the beach was deserted, lit only by the silvery moonlight. Just when she was about to give up, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was Emeka, his face showing a mix of hope and fear. Adaku, he said, his voice thick with emotion. I owe you an apology. He poured out his heart, admitting his insecurities and fear of losing her. He confessed to hiring a private investigator and finding out that Kolade had nothing to do with the threats. It had all been a misunderstanding. As he spoke, Adaku listened intently, feeling both relief and anger. She was relieved that Emeka was clearing the air, but angry at the misunderstanding that had almost ruined their love. When he finished, a heavy silence fell. Adaku looked into his eyes, searching for the spark that had started their love story. It was there, flickering faintly, but overshadowed by doubt. Emeka, she began, her voice trembling slightly, I love you. But trust is the foundation of any relationship. Your accusations hurt me deeply. Emeka reached for her hand, his eyes pleading. I know, he said, his voice filled with remorse. Can you ever forgive me? Adaku's eyes drifted to the vast ocean, the waves crashing against the shore reflecting the turmoil within her. Could she forgive Emeka? Could she rebuild the trust that had been shattered so easily? She looked back at Emeka, seeing the vulnerability on his face. The love she felt for him was undeniable, a deep, warm ember glowing beneath the ashes of their recent fight. Taking a deep breath, Adaku spoke with new resolve. Maybe, she said. But it will take time. Emeka's face lit up with a grateful smile. I understand, he said, relief evident in his voice. I'm willing to wait, to prove myself worthy of your trust again. He gently squeezed her hand, his touch sending a familiar warmth through her. Adaku couldn't ignore Kolade's kindness and understanding. There's something else, she whispered. She explained her encounters with Kolade, his support, and the unspoken question between them. Emeka listened patiently, his jaw clenching slightly at Kolade's name. A flicker of jealousy crossed his face. Do you feel something for him? He asked, his voice tinged with insecurity. Adaku hesitated. Kolade had been a comforting presence during her darkest moments. His belief in her had soothed the wounds from Emeka's doubt. There's a connection, she admitted. But it's different from what we have. Emeka nodded thoughtfully. I understand, he said calmly, surprising her. Love comes in many forms, Adaku. Maybe what you feel for Kolade is deep friendship, gratitude for his support. He paused, then added, but the love we share, Adaku, that's special. It's a connection that transcends time and doubt. His words resonated with Adaku. Looking into his eyes, she saw the same love that had captivated her during their first encounter, a love that had weathered storms but still burned brightly. Memories of their shared laughter, stolen kisses, and dreams they had woven together came flooding back. A decision, difficult but clear, began to form in her mind. Taking Emeka's hand in hers, she squeezed it gently. "You're right, Emeka," she said, her voice filled with newfound determination. "Our love is something special. And I'm willing to give us another chance, to rebuild the trust we lost." A wave of relief washed over Emeka. He pulled her into a tight embrace, the sound of the ocean waves a soothing melody to their newfound reconciliation. They stood there for a long time, holding each other close, the promise of a future, stronger and more cherished, shimmering before them. However, the road ahead wouldn't be easy. The shadow of Kolade's offer still lingered, and the wounds of betrayal needed time to heal. But with their love rekindled and a newfound commitment to trust, Adaku and Emeka were ready to face the challenges that lay ahead. Their love story, though far from over, had taken a dramatic turn, leaving the question hanging: would their second chance at love be their happily ever after? The next morning, Adaku felt the weight of her decision heavily. Facing Kolade at work felt like navigating a minefield. His usual warm smile faltered slightly when he saw her, a flicker of something unreadable in his eyes. "Good morning, Adaku," he greeted, his voice neutral. "Good morning, Kolade," she replied, her voice barely a whisper. The air was thick with unspoken words, a tense silence stretching on for what felt like an eternity. Trying to break the ice, Adaku blurted out, "I wanted to thank you for everything. For your support, your friendship." Kolade nodded, a hint of sadness in his eyes. Of course, Adaku. You'll always be a valued colleague, a friend." He paused, then added softly, "But if there's anything else you need, anything at all, please don't hesitate to ask." His words hung in the air, a silent acknowledgement of her choice and a bittersweet reminder of the path not taken. Adaku felt a pang of guilt, a flicker of doubt about her decision. But the memory of Emeka's embrace and the warmth of their rekindled love solidified her resolve. The following days were a delicate dance. Adaku tried to keep a professional distance from Kolade, their interactions limited to work-related matters. Kolade respected her boundaries, his friendly demeanor replaced with quiet courtesy. Yet, the unspoken tension remained, a constant reminder of the crossroads Adaku had faced. Meanwhile, Emeka showered her with attention, determined to rebuild their trust. He planned surprise picnics, and whisked her away for weekend getaways, and his apologies were heartfelt and consistent. Adaku, initially hesitant, found herself slowly opening up to him again. Their conversations flowed more easily, and laughter began to return to their moments together. One evening, as they strolled hand in hand along Bar Beach, the same place where they had reconciled, a sense of normalcy settled between them. Emeka stopped and turned to her, his eyes searching hers. "Adaku," he said, his voice filled with sincerity, "I know trust takes time to rebuild. But I want you to know, you are the only woman I love. I'll spend every day proving that to you." Adaku met his gaze, her heart swelling with a renewed sense of hope. "I believe you, Emeka," she whispered, leaning in for a kiss. As their lips met, the salty ocean breeze carrying the scent of possibility, it felt like a fresh start, a chance to write a new chapter in their love story. However, the memory of Kolade's kindness lingered in the background of their happiness. One day, while sorting through old files, Adaku found a handwritten note tucked away in her desk drawer. It was from Kolade, simply expressing his hope for her happiness. A tear rolled down her cheek, a bittersweet reminder of the man who had supported her during her darkest times. The note reminded Adaku of the complexities of love. She realized that love wasn't always a simple, binary choice. Genuine affection, respect, and appreciation could exist outside a romantic relationship. Perhaps her connection with Kolade was a different kind of love, showing the human capacity for empathy and understanding. As weeks passed, Adaku found strength in her decision. She embraced her love for Emeka, cherishing their second chance while recognizing the value of Kolade's friendship. Their love story, though not a fairy tale, was a testament to the resilience of love, the ability to overcome doubt and rebuild trust. Yet, as they moved forward together, a question lingered: would the memory of Kolade and the path not taken always cast a shadow on their happily ever after? Only time would tell if their rekindled love could withstand future challenges. A year passed, filled with reconciliation dinners, romantic getaways, and whispered promises between Adaku and Emeka. Their love story, though scarred, seemed to be healing. Emeka kept his word, showering Adaku with affection and proving his commitment through thoughtful gestures. One sunny afternoon, while they sipped coffee on their balcony, Emeka presented Adaku with a velvet box. Inside was a dazzling diamond ring. Tears welled up in Adaku's eyes as Emeka, his voice thick with emotion, proposed. Adaku, he said, you are the love of my life. Will you marry me? Adaku, her heart overflowing with love and gratitude, whispered, yes, Emeka. 1,000 times, yes. News of their engagement spread quickly through the firm. Kolade, genuinely happy for them, couldn't help but feel a pang of loss. He approached Adaku one afternoon with a single white rose. Congratulations, Adaku, he said, his smile tinged with sadness. You deserve all the happiness in the world. Adaku accepted the rose, its delicate petals contrasting with the emotions swirling within her. Thank you, Kolade, she replied softly. I'll always cherish your friendship. Their brief hug held a lifetime of unspoken words. It was a goodbye to a path not taken, a bittersweet acknowledgement of the love that had grown in the garden of friendship. The wedding was a grand affair, a celebration of love and second chances. As Adaku walked down the aisle in her stunning white gown, Emeka's eyes welled up with tears. He saw not just the beautiful woman he loved, but the woman who had chosen him, who had believed in their love even when it faltered. Their vows, heartfelt and sincere, echoed through the opulent hall. As they exchanged rings, a symbol of their unwavering commitment, a sense of peace settled over Adaku. The future stretched before them, a canvas waiting to be painted with the colors of their love story. Though the memory of Kolade and the crossroads Adaku had faced would forever be a part of their journey, it wouldn't define it. They had learned, grown, and emerged stronger, a testament to the enduring power of love, trust, and second chances.